Hey guys, it's John with another episode of the JRB climbing method, and I've gotten some feedback and questions for more detail on the technique I use to both ascend and to descend or rappel. And so I've got my system all set up. It's up and over a crotch in a realistic hunting situation. I do hunt out of this tree, and I've already clipped in with my primary friction hitches, the Michoacans, and I've already got my garter hitch on the line. I've got several different variants for that best friend, and this is a really lightweight variant of the best friend, which is a simple girth hitch around the line and plugged into my redundant bridge. Now, you know, should anyone try something like that, you really got to think about how you would get out of that if you ever needed it, and I can go over that at a future time. But again, this is a demonstration. This is the way I climb, and so I'm going to give you a quick dose of that. But what you'll notice is this best friend will auto tend. As I move up the garter hitch, it will move up. So there's basically three different techniques I've come up with for ascending, and the first method is a single foot technique. And what I'm going to do is, I call it the over-under method. I'm going to put one hand under my friction knots, one hand over my friction knots. And that's an important reason. You know, you notice the baggage here, I've got a little extra slack. I like to tune the length of my primary friction hitches depending on my climbing method or the length of my bridge. If I lengthen my bridge, I might want to shorten these. But I like it so that I can easily get one hand on top. So this is the over-under method. It's probably the easiest and the quietest. So as I step in on my first one hand's over, one's under. I move this one up as high as I can, and I simply shove those knots up with one hand. Let's do that again. Advance my foot loop, one hand under, one hand over. Slide that guy up, shove them up, sit back down. Let's do it one more time. Okay, so that's the over-under method. The other method, again with one foot, I'm going to show you what I call the double shove. And this would be, I'd use this for rec climbs or when I'm setting cameras, when I just want to go as quickly as I can. And what this method is one hand on either rope. And what I'll do is I'll stand, and then as I'm sitting at the same time with both hands, I'll do a double shove, and I'll shove those friction knots upward. So up, shove and sit. Again, up, shove and sit. This is really quick. Okay, now I'm going to show you how you might use 2 feet. Now I would normally put both of my feet in the stirrups at the base of the tree. So it's a little bit of a gymnastic act to switch in the tree. And this might be for somebody who's got, you know, a little less of a strength profile, because now I'm using both of my feet to ascend and both arms. This method, you really need your feet on the tree. Unlike the prior example, you can do that leaning away from the tree. If you're going to use both feet, you want them pressed against the tree. You want to be climbing a fairly straight tree, not one that's leaning too badly. And in this case, again, with both hands and both feet, I'm just standing. I mean, it's so easy. I mean, it's like doing a squat with your body weight with a two-handed assist. And then I move those up. I know I've got my back towards it, so I'll spin around a little bit. You can use either technique to advance the knots, the double shove I just showed you, or the over-under. So all sorts of variations that might work for you. I've got someone who asked me if he could climb with this method when he really only has 20% use of one of his legs. And so for him, I'm going to advise this method, because this leg doesn't do anything but push off of the tree. Okay, so I'm about 18 feet or so off the ground. I could go as high as I need to, but I don't want to get too high. And now I'm going to transition into descent mode. When I do so, first thing I do is remove the garter hitch. I remove my best friend, so I'm temporarily non-redundant, but you know, potentially I've sat there for a few hours already. I'm pretty confident in that system and its grab. I've got a new video on my channel under knot tying, which shows you the details of how to tie the Munter friction hitch. So now I'm just going to tie it. The Munter friction hitch on 2 strands of rope. Okay, and make sure that's locked. And I remove, again, as per the detail video, I remove all the slack out of it I can. I fold it upward, about midway between my friction hitches and the Munter. And I break my 2 friction hitches. And now I'm coming down. With one hand, I tend slack into the Munter, and with the other hand, I tend my 2 Michoacán friction hitches. If at any point during the descent you wanted to stop, for example, to remove a platform you may have strapped to the tree, you can simply, or an emergency where for whatever reason you needed to stop, you let go of the system, it stops for you. To restart, just restart the sequence, break these 2. You know, you could break them 1 at a time, or you could break them 2 at a time, you know, in case it binds a little bit more on your system and your ropes. I can control the friction going in, more friction, less friction, more friction, and I can even do the whole thing with one hand. So again, I'm very comfortable with the system and the method, obviously, and I encourage anyone who might try this to understand that this is a demonstration. It doesn't substitute for instruction, and I definitely recommend the use of personal protective equipment such as a helmet anytime you're doing any kind of climbing. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them, and I'd be happy to try to fill in the blanks. Thank you very much, and be safe.